And we're live.
Awesome. Well, Salvi and I are working on coming up with a better intro because I don't want to say like a catchy "we're live" phrase. It doesn't really work. I'm not vibing with it too much.
What's
But
the word on the street? You know?
what's
Yeah.
maybe like a little catchy theme song?
What's the word on the street?
Do you have that funny audio of
Or
Julian?
oh my gosh.
Do you have it?
Oh, I'd have to Google. Let me see. Let me
Good
see.
good
Give me
morning,
some time.
everyone. Allison, good morning. Tracy, good morning. Julie, good morning. Carrie, Leslie, Kate, Suze Cola. Wow, that was really aggressive when I said that. I literally just saw me spitting all over the place. Like my spit just went out. We got Samantha, good morning. Have been watching YouTube waiting for this to start. Can we just out SP for not monetizing, making us sit through a bunch of ads? Yeah, for not, yeah, because we don't do that. That's absolutely right. Because listen,
Ooh.
how much money do people make on that stuff anyway? I'm genuinely curious.
Uh, what is it like? Clicks per CPMs or whatever? I don't know how to talk that lingo.
It's something too, even when it comes to like our sponsors. Here's the thing too, right? Like even with our sponsors, look, street parking is successful. We're super grateful for all you guys being part of our community. Honestly, we just want to give back. So when even when we work with partners, we want to make sure that the discount we give back to you guys is the greatest possible, because we're not trying to like nickel and dime for like an extra $500 here, an extra $1,000 here, when that can go back to the members. And I think that's why we really appreciate working with the partners that we have, because they just take care of our community as best they can. You know, Nikki in the house. Good morning. Hey, Chongo, do you want to say good morning? Also, hold on, Sab. I'm going to tell here's my Chongo here. Right now, I'm showing him love, but he's the one that gets the short end of the stick because he is the most needy. He is the most needy of all our children, actually. And maybe I just feel that way. Is that better? How's the camera tilt, Salvi?
That's so good. It's good.
It's good.
Wow, there's so much people this morning.
There we go. Look at everybody chipping in. Angela's here. I love it. Cool. So we're just kind of waiting for Miranda to get ready or getting ready. We have our kiddos in the house. They don't have school today. So if you see them popping in the screen and then jumping out, or us kind of getting distracted a little bit, just giving you guys some, warnings in advance. Okay. Yeah. So funny story about Chongo here. Okay. This guy's name is Chongo. You can see his little, his little snout here. He is 6 years old now. Yeah. He's about to be 7 in July. And Rachel and Cole ended up driving him down to us from Utah when they first started with street parking. So you guys know Rachel and Cole. And he's been part of this family. Now Miranda got him for me as a gift. It was supposed to be a gift. I don't know how it was not on my wish list, if I'm being honest, but I received them as a surprise, and he's been, he's he was. If there was ever a moment where how people with kids say, "Oh, he was a surprise" or "she was a surprise," I would say that none of our children were surprised. Maybe Knox, but the biggest surprise was Chongo. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Chongo.
Oh man, it was so funny. The gift that keeps on giving. Absolutely. Well, anyway. All right, Miranda's coming in real quick. We're going to talk about lots of fun things today. We're going to start off by talking about lots of Project April stuff and just kind of the evolution. But before we even get into that, there's some shout outs. I just want to give some shout outs from our street parking community. There's so much cool stuff going on. We got Clayton in the house. Look at this group. You guys is this just something because now there's like momentum going in the show that everybody's just jumping on?
I think it's because there's drama.
Or is it because there's drama or something going on?
Say today.
They're like, oh, what are they going to say today?
Stir the pot.
If anyone wants to send me a surprise, what do they say?
I should probably put
a surprise rescue dog. I would be thrilled. I was just kind of letting them know that Chongo was the surprise child in our family.
Oh, well, here's the thing. You grew an attachment to Gunny, who was our miniature schnauzer, and he died. And I felt like you needed like a more manly dog because we had Midgie, who was a Yorkie, and then we have the 2 Shih Tzus. And I was like, we have a backyard now, and like Julian, I feel like you had never had a bigger dog in your lifetime.
I've never had growing up in a Mexican household. It was always Chihuahuas, and I wish that I was like breaking the stereotype. I feel like I'm doing it now in the past year and a half, breaking the stereotypes and all left and right. But growing up in my Mexican household, it was just Chihuahuas
And
or
I
small
had German
dogs.
Shepherds.
And you had German Shepherds.
So like like I loved Midgie, and Midgie was my, spirit animal, and Gunny too. But I haven't grown a special attachment to the Shih Tzus. And so, and we had a son, and I was like, our little boy needs like a dog, like a real, not this little toy thing. And, but I would advise against getting a big dog when you're in the baby phase of life.
You know what? Thank you for acknowledging that. I really appreciate that. I really think I feel seen and I feel heard.
But Chongo's experienced a lot of
Hold
trauma.
on, let me just let it sink
life.
it in. Let me sink that in. Thank you. I appreciate you for saying that.
Chongo's experienced a lot of trauma.
All right, we can move on. I've grieved it. We're moving on from it. That was a very painful time of our life. That was hard. That was really hard. All right. You know what made it really hard is the times when Chongo was just a puppy and Knox was just learning how to walk.
Knock him over
and he would go blitzing and he would knock Knox over. And I would just get so mad because there was like steps going back into our concrete pad. So Knox one time just had like full face plant, had scrapes up all his face.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, but your dogs were constantly biting them.
That is correct. That's
my
right.
dogs, Midgie and Gunny, never bit anyone.
Hey, but
they
you're
peed all over the place. Not Gunny, but like there was no biting. Midgie was always somehow so clean. Like he was never.
Your dogs were always clean. I don't know what was wrong with my dogs. Somehow they just were like they still to this day. I will say though that when Luna bit Knox when he was a 6-7 month old, I was willing to be like, hey, game over, like goodbye. I was willing to open the door, but you were just like, don't do that.
Well, and then we gave them to your mom for a while, and they got even less disciplined than they got at our house.
It was horrible. It's horrible. Anyway, so that's our talk about the dogs and stuff. And I kind of wanted to say something really quick, just to kind of address the elephant in the room that's been going out without going into depths.
I'm just looking for the elephant.
Where's the elephant in the room? There's been stuff going on our street parking community page. People being members of ours being upset, throwing away their apparel, and and even within the show, the real-time feedback is that we understand that even some of the conversations that we have on the show, when it comes to our personal life and our walk in faith and stuff like that, some people it may be hard for people to hear that and maybe kind of take that on. So we understand where many people are coming from. And there's just so much going on, right? There's Reddit pages, there's things left and right. We are aware. We are definitely aware. And we're not going to lean into it too heavily. But one thing is that we do want to say before we get the show started is no matter what may be going on in our personal life, we've always shared our life. We've been very open, very transparent. And with that, never wanted you guys to feel like we were imposing that on you guys. One thing that will never change as far as street parking goes is our core beliefs around health and fitness. Health and fitness, it's unchanging. And
we'll add to it.
We'll add to it. Yeah, we'll add to it. And another thing too is, without a doubt, if you've been a part of our community for the last 8 years, we know that we love every single one of you guys, no matter what you guys' backgrounds, your beliefs, whatever you guys, whatever is going on in your life. We're just here to be a support in your life with health and fitness. And we know that we are an inclusive community. That's it, period. And I know that Miranda and I, and we're trying to, like, when we hear this, like, real-time feedback too, we hope that you guys, if you guys are following some of that stuff, if anything, if it's exposed, like, yeah, we are real people. We are real people. We have real struggles. Well, given that we are personalities in the space, some of that can be more open to others, and, but, we have shared and leaked what we feel comfortable at the time as we continue to move forward. So that way we never felt like we were suppressing our voice. But we are grateful to be standing here today together. and to be still serving you guys, but more importantly, serving our family. And we're just here to remind you that, yeah, we're real people too. And with some of the stuff that we do choose to share, if some of you guys have questions or concerns, we're more than willing to hear that. Send emails into our support team. They'll forward them over to us. We'll get back to them as within our capacities. Okay. But yeah, it is safe to say that, as we've heard some of this feedback coming in, the Julian and Miranda that were 5 years ago or even 3 years ago is very different than who we are today.
Yeah, I would say that it is very different from who we are today. I have a lot of thoughts on this. Where was I going to start with it?
Well, there's no rush, so take your time.
One thing that I have found, because I've been on social media and had a large following for a long time. Mm-hmm. I got on social media in 2013. And so, 12 years now, and had a pretty big following very quickly because of CrossFit and because of the seminar staff stuff. And just, I was out there a lot. And it was easier to get a big following back then. And, because of this role of coach that we are in and that I have been in, I have throughout the years recognized and noticed that when I share anything, that people take it on as advice. Mm. So whether I remember there was a post, several years ago where I posted that our children had never had fast food. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't nowhere in the video or in the caption was it telling other people not to feed their children fast food. I was sharing, this is how our kids never ask for that stuff because they don't even know that it exists. And the level of anger mm-hmm. and hate and how dare you tell me that I'm feeding my kids and how dare you shame me and why are you telling me you don't know what it's like and when it was the post was super simple too. It was like, my kids asked for mango instead of candy because we don't have candy and it was just the amount that people took it on and took it as a personal attack. That's one of many, many examples over the years. Homeschool, home birth, you name it. Anytime that I've just shared my story about, hey, here's what I'm doing, here's what's going on with me, because I am a sharer, mm-hmm. It has been received both very, very well of like, thank you for, sharing this. That's, I had never thought of that, or I'm doing that too. There's always the people who love it. And then there's the people who take it on as you are telling me I'm doing something wrong because I chose something different. Mm-hmm. And I recognize that it's, partially because that's just the way of social media, and partially because people have put me or us in this role of coach. So they see us as a mentor and they think that everything that comes out of our mouth is meant to be advice. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's one issue that we're having is we're sharing our story. We're sharing this faith journey that we've been on, or even that I've, come to understand that a lot of it is about me talking about wanting to be more of a mom with my kids more, or bringing them back to doing homeschool. And I understand that there's been some people that are saying that everybody that think that I'm trying to say that everybody should do that or whatever, instead of just seeing it as us sharing our journey. And so I think that's tough for us because we just want to share what's going on with us so that people can see us as real people and connect with us and know who we are as a 3-dimensional human, not just this 1-dimensional and all I talk about and all I think about and all I care about is fitness, because that's also not relatable and it's not helpful to people. And I think when we go on that side, I've received so much of like, all you care about is fitness. Like, you don't know what it's like to be a mom and you don't know what it's like to work. And it's like, okay, well, let me share about my personal life. And it's like, well, why are you telling me what to do with my personal life? And it's just, you can't really, win. So there's that part of it. And I understand that that's just the way of social media. And so for us, it's just, we have to be very willing to be misunderstood.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have to be very willing to be misunderstood, or we can become sitcom characters and be performers, which the root of a lot of the problems that we've had in our family and all the things that we're overcoming and what sent me to, go seek treatment or whatever was that we felt like we were needed to please everybody. We needed to perform for people. We needed to be these, people up on the pedestal that made everybody happy was a huge part of the problem of what got us there. So I think we're trying something new, and it's bringing up some stuff for people that are hearing it and receiving it. And so that's just, that's one thing that I would say.
Yeah. And even, I also want to address the elephant in the room when it comes to, when we even talk about our personal story, when it comes to faith as well. We also recognize that, with everything that we discuss here, we hope and we'll continue to reevaluate this and listen to people's feedback. Oftentimes people can be like, oh, they feel like they are righteous or something, or they're like, look at them, they feel like they're better than this and that. Actually, what's helped us open our eyes is realizing how broken and how many flaws we truly have, and that's been a hard pill to swallow. But we're grateful that this new journey has exposed that, and it's given us something to work towards for personal growth. And again, we don't have all the answers, but we can point you to, if you guys reach out to us directly, personally, the things that have worked for us.
The truth is, we both have our DMs turned off. If we haven't ever talked to the person before, they're not going to be able to.
Oh, that's true.
Reach out to us.
That's right.
About a year ago, we turned our DMs off.
Yeah, so just
because
send an
again,
email.
it was part of the problem was that we felt like we had to, and we had to be a personal trainer for every single member that reached out, which became it took away from our own kids and stuff.
It did. But yeah, all that to say is we care about you guys. We love, we just wanted to kind of address that just so you guys don't think that we're just oblivious to what's going on out there. But yeah, and obviously drama really, or, this kinds of conversations are very triggering and hot. So we just kind of wanted to grab our little bucket and pour water over it. We're aware. And that's our approach. Okay. So cool. All right, moving on to the next thing. Here we go. So Salvi, let's go ahead and kick it off with some shout outs first for our community. All right. What you got? Boom. Hey, SP fam. I just got
There's so many people here today.
I know. Oh my goodness. Hey, if
put in the comments why you're here. Like, what do you need us to talk about?
Hey,
we're just pumped that you guys are here.
If you know, you know.
Okay. I guess so. I put it on my story. Is that what happened?
I don't know. We both kind of shared it. Yeah, bonds. All right. Hey, SB fam. I just got invited to run a trial 10K race end of July that has 2,000 plus foot elevation gain. Ooh. So now I'm looking for some did I say trail? Wow. Trail running. It was like, what was it? What's Fabletics? What's it called? I said Fabletics or something like that. Last week's episode, our guest works with Fabletics, and in my Mexican reading English, the way I read it was Fabletics. No different than the way I read this right now, trial, when it says trail. Running training advice. Last year, I completed the 52-week endurance program on the Echo bike, but as far as running goes, recently, I haven't done much over a mile or two at a time. Would doing the endurance program again, 1 or 2, with running this time be a good place to start? Favorite trail running shoes recommended? Hit me with all your tips. Feeling super motivated to try something new. Plus, challenging this year.
Well, we have a, I feel like I'm not on the screen.
Salvi, is Miranda on the screen?
Can you see me?
Like, boom. Oh, okay. There's too much.
Yeah, sorry. I was waiting for Simon to get you guys.
He's going to spill my coffee.
God, Shango, come on. There you go. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, just put her a little bit on frame. Julian?
Okay, hold on.
So we have a short half marathon program now that's only like 6 weeks long, but we are about to release the new longer half marathon program. So 10K is not a half marathon, so maybe that's not necessary. I think the 52-week endurance would be good. We have a lot going on, and I'm like having a hard time processing this answer with a child on my lap and Julian like.
Come on, Julian. Let's go.
I'll
tell you what we're gonna do. As soon as we get done with this,
oh.
Go. Go, deal.
Not the place for me.
Me and you.
Not the place for me.
Me and you have that plan today. After we get to go to the car shop today.
Not the thing that not the
No,
He's
right
like
now you guys
promising
just
he's
go
like
play.
bribing him at this point, you guys.
Okay. Back.
Okay. Yeah. So 10K. What is that? Like 6 miles. So you don't really need the half marathon program. Yeah, I would say either just the 52-week endurance program would be great. Like the person.
Yes.
I don't know if it was a male or female. I didn't pick that up. Everything the person suggested.
Just stick to that.
Bring the question back up, Salvi.
Salvi,
Sorry, I
go
was
pop it
having
up.
a really hard time focusing on the.
Here we go.
Last year I completed 52-week endurance program. Oh, she's definitely gonna, or I don't know why I think it's a she. Definitely gonna want to run. Mm-hmm.
I'll give you more.
I don't
context.
have trail running shoe recommendations, but there are definitely members who would, because I know a lot of our members do that kind of stuff. And I think that's really cool. The 2,000 feet elevation gain is, so I would say my tip for that, and again, I am not a trail runner or a runner really at all, but throwing in some like sled work, making sure you're doing some of the strength training stuff, because I mean, when you're climbing those hills, you just need strong, like powerful glutes, hamstrings, everything. And also you're going to want really healthy like knees and all of that for, so all the musculature around your knees and your hips and everything for the running.
I love that a lot of members here are just already adding to the suggestion.
Great.
Which is,
Oh,
I love
shoes.
it. The
See,
shoes.
Everybody knows the shoes.
This is
Everybody's
awesome.
got the shoe answer.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. Cool. So we hope that this member ends up coming and just check out the live chat. There's so much good information here. All right, next question.
Hold on. There was a question up. Go scroll up, Salvi. I wanted to address this because I asked like, hey, why are you guys here? What were you hoping? Why are there so many? There's more. There's about 30 more people here right now than we normally have when we're live.
Mm-hmm.
Salvi, there was a question. I can't see it now. About somebody feeling like they've been a member since 2017 and they feel like street parking isn't for them.
Oh, pull it in.
And they were hoping we would say something today to change their mind. I'm going to need a little bit more context is what I was going to ask.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
what do you feel has changed or what's the feeling underneath that? Cause I can't really address it otherwise, but
yeah, if that member,
this person Beth was willing to share, I thought maybe if she was willing to share where that she thinks that's might be coming from, we could talk about that.
Cool. Yeah. I would love to kind of hear that. So Beth, if you're still listening here, chiming in, please give us a little bit more context there. We'd love to help answer a question to the best of our ability for today. All right, cool. Next member, how often, this is a cool one. How often are folks doing mashups of program A, B, or C with shift, duration, or rep schemes? How about for vault or other similar challenges? Or is that cheating? I know we're all about fitness freedom, but curious about others' opinions.
How often are folks doing a mashup of program ABC with shift, duration, or rep schemes? Oh, okay. Do we need to read the rest of the question?
No, I don't think so. He was just adding his own personal
I would
context.
say that we encourage that behavior when needed. Now, so like what this person means by this, I think, is what we've said sometimes is, hey, if you want to take the movements from program A, so let's call it a thruster and a burpee box jump. But the reps are really high. You think it's going to take really long, or maybe it's a 20-minute AMRAP, or it's 10 rounds or something like that. So the volume's high of those movements. And you're like, well, I want to do thrusters. I'm cool doing burpee box jumps, but that many reps or that long, I'm not, I just got over being sick, or that's a lot of burpee box jumps for me. And so then they look at shift, and maybe shift is a workout that's like, maybe it's 12 minutes. Maybe the reps are a lot more manageable. So they take the movements from program A and they plug it into the shift scheme. And that's something that we've encouraged people to do as they're moving. Maybe they started and they've been doing shift for 6 months or a year, and they want to move toward program A, or maybe they've always done program A or B, but they're pregnant or something like that. And so we encourage that. And that's why we show all 4 versions. It had, not recently, but as we have been growing, it had been suggested a few times of what if people have to pick which program they follow and they pay specifically for that one. And if they want to see the rest of them, they pay an extra fee. And it's like, well, no, because then people can't do stuff like that.
Right.
Or maybe when they're at home, they have a barbell and plates and stuff. And then when they travel, they use the dumbbells at the gym. Like we want them to be able to fluidly go through and change it up.
Yeah, and also the other day, so Mondays after the vault, stay tuned for like the 20, 30 minutes afterwards, because the coaches will go in and talk about the week's worth of programming. One of the things that I shared for Wednesdays, which is the last strength focus, right? This is our last week. This was our last week.
I gotta log some of my
yeah, we
scores
gotta
that
log.
I never logged.
So what I had said was, I personally don't like lifting heavy in the mornings. However, we have a crew that comes to work out early in the morning. Given that my body's only been awake for an hour, I haven't gotten a meal yet, but I'm trying to work out with a group of friends. Now, my lifting is very different at 2 to 3 p.m. than it is at 8:30 a.m. One of the things I shared with the community and with Chelsea is like, I will take the dumbbell format and apply it to the program B format as a way for me to feel like I'm getting some strength in, but obviously not optimal strength. But it's because I think program A for this week was like a tempo. So yeah, bottom line, all that to say is you're doing exactly what we hope that you guys can start adopting as you're going through the seasons of life. It's okay to blend the different versions of the workout, whatever it takes to help keep you consistent. We offer the template for you guys to do it if you can. It's very beautifully programmed. Lots of thought goes into it. However, like Chipotle has its... Are we like the Chipotle?
We don't charge extra for guac.
We don't charge extra for guac, but yeah, Chipotle has... Salvi, jump in.
What is nutrition? Is it the nutrition program?
No. I'm saying like we're like does that
The
analogy
Cava?
make sense? We're like the Cava. Screw Chipotle. We're like the Cava. Where
Have you guys had Cava? Comment.
Yeah, comment below if you've had Cava before.
We need a Cava.
Is it an East thing?
I don't know, man.
I think so.
But anyway, you have your bowls that are beautifully crafted, thought out. But then sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to customize it a little bit to my flavor. That's what we're encouraging.
You know, it's so funny too, because we were having a meeting literally like 2 days ago. It was me and Danny and Julian and Carlene. And we were talking about like, hey, we always have these conversations of like, how can we do better? How can we make the program better? How can we serve people? How can we deliver the best product? And even within that, Julian, when we were talking about like, we could do this thing or we could do that thing. And Danny and I had a very specific idea in our mind of what we meant. And Julian and Carlene were over here thinking that we were talking about muscle ups and squat snatches. And Danny and I were over here thinking we were talking about more like static holds and bicep curls and more stuff with kettlebells. And so even within our staff, people have a different flavor preference. You know what I
mean? Don't come around me with your Cava breath, breathing all heavy.
Oh, Trish knows about Cava.
Trish knows about Cava.
Now we're going to get an insight potentially as to where Trish lives.
You're narrowing down where you live, Trish. Be careful. All right, cool. Last one before we go to Project April.
And then we got to see if Beth ever responded.
Yes, Beth, we are waiting for your response. I know she's listening and also here's the thing. Before we even get to Beth's response, I will say one of the things that we encourage is just to be completely respectful, even if you just like sometimes even when people bring up their concerns or share their perspective, that's their reality and they're allowed to share that. And we're just going to do our best to respond to that in the best way that we know how, but we're just asking for empathy and care. Yeah, sure. Empathy for people's, what they're struggling with. So, All right, cool. Last question, right? Cool. With all strength workouts from the past 3 months, will all the strength workouts from the past 3 months be a special?
Did Kim just type this or was this really a question? Yeah, they're going to be an extra program. All the Bear Strength will be a collection. It'll be an extra program. And again, I've said this, I think at least on one of these other episodes, but maybe more than once. You could very simply go through and start over. You could go through and do part 1 on Tuesday every week and part 2 after your workout on Thursday every week, or even after the endurance stuff on Wednesday, you could do it. So they will be in there forever. Well, I shouldn't say forever, because then, in 10 years from now, if we take them out, then people will say, you said forever on the podcast in 2025. Sure. But they'll be in there. It'll live in there as an extra program.
Okay, so Beth did respond. I don't know how to sum it up in less than 200 characters. So this is how we can. This is what we can do, and I'll just throw a suggestion out there, Beth, because we do care about your concerns and stuff, and we would hate for you to feel like we didn't address what you were thinking on this show. Send us an email. Send us an email to forward it over to us, and that way we can hear you out. And honestly, it might be a little bit more appropriate and for both parties, right? So send us an email, support@streetparking.com, and we'll have our team share it with us, and that way we can just we can address that. Okay, but thank you for engaging in the conversation.
One of the conversations that we were, and I don't have any idea with where Beth is at, so this is not a Beth thing. One of the conversations that we were talking about just yesterday, and it's something that I was feeling, and then I have only really spoken to one member who has shared that they were feeling a certain type of way, but it was somewhat confirmed in my conversation with this person. I was feeling like there's a potential for the people that have been around for a really long time, similar to what you see in the CrossFit space, right? When they started, it was me and you, and we were answering every email. We were in every single demo. We made every single demo.
Yeah.
We were scrappy. We were struggling. We were working at Panera and we were working at Starbucks, and everybody loves to feel a part of like a revolution. Everybody loves to feel a part of a startup. Everybody loves to feel a part of like the beginning of something. Like, it's very exciting.
Yeah.
And the energy is usually very high around something like that. It felt very Fight Clubby, like it was small, like nobody knew what it was. You wore your street parking shirt because you felt like you were a part of like this secret society. And then as we continued to grow and our staff got bigger and the community got bigger and we got recognition from CrossFit, and we grew so exponentially around COVID, and we had an influx of members, and then we got the fancy app and all of this stuff. I've even had feedback come my way that people have a problem with the fact that we built a nice house, or, things like that they think that, and it's so, and I'm not putting any of this on Beth. It could be something completely different. It reminded me of something else I was going to say. And I totally get, Kariana and I were talking about what made the original seminar staff so special. And it was that, like, we were willing to go out there and be like, we're right, you're wrong. Like, I don't care what you say. Like, we're, Fight Club. And there is a piece of that cannot be replicated once you get past a certain point. Like, it can't. And, we've always been very, very adamant about not raising our prices. And when I hear the feedback of people, it rubbing them the wrong way that we built a new house, or rubbing them the wrong way that they have to buy a t-shirt because, it's tough because, I just want to be like, what about the app that we built that was like so expensive, and it's so expensive for us to run, and this huge staff that we have and everything, but the price of the product has never changed. Sure. And I think, these are just things that, unless you're in it and unless you've, owned a similar type of business, you just wouldn't think about it. And so that's tough. And so even, that was just another thing that I would say is I get that the feeling when it's small, when there's 2,000 members versus 30,000 members, feels like more of a family. It feels like more of a secret society. It feels like more like you're part of something. And then when it gets bigger and bigger, you can feel a little bit lost, and it can feel too big, and maybe it's too fancy and it's too nice now. And we didn't even have one kid. I had no kids when we started, and then one. And then as our family has grown, it's been harder for me personally to be involved in every single conversation and every single thing. So, I think that might be part of it as well. And it's valid.
There's a comment, Salvi, if you can pull it up, around, I've been a member for a while as well, and the lack of empathy, if you can pull that up. Do you know which one it is, Salvi? There we go. I like this comment a lot. Yes, same for me. As a member since 2019, the dynamic has changed. A lot less empathy, which is hard to see. I think that's right. I'm with you. I am totally with you. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm not even going to try to be stoic about this response. It breaks our hearts too. It really, really does. Um, I wish that we were in a world that people accepted each other for no matter for who they were. I wish that in our Facebook page that people could post what political party they were and nobody batted an eye. I wish that, but the reality is we live in a broken and fallen world, and we can grieve that. We can hurt for that. And we definitely try our best, and especially our team. And we're trying to kind of, if anything, year 8 into street parking, we're just kind of recognizing the capacity on which we can do it. Because like to Miranda's point, when we first started, 2,000 people is a lot, but it was still hard to navigate. But it was a lot easier for us to have, relationships with our members. As the community grew to 30,000 members, and lives, our staff, our children, and there's the reality that is on your phone and on your social media, and then there's the reality that's in front of you. And given that we're a platform that's online based, I think we definitely hit our capacity of what's possible as human beings without us losing our souls to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's probably what was so painful about the process in our season, where like we had to address things that with our family and making sure that we were okay, right? We pulled back, we detached, because that was the thing to do. Then it was like more of then the people controlled the narrative, the community controlled the narrative in a way where we recognize that, for Miranda, for myself, for our team, because those are all things that impact our team as well. It takes a toll. It takes a toll on everyone. And we apologize for how things have gotten. And moving forward, we hope that you can see that we're here. We care about where things are at, and we grieve these connections as well. We're trying to find a new way. We're trying to find our capacity. But again, everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. And you best bet that on the community page, if we see someone attacking you, and we're going to take it down. We're like, hey, there's no need for that. Send each other a DM. If you guys want to change each other's minds, shoot yourself a DM. Because, if anything, see each other. See who you're speaking to. It's a lot easier. It's a lot harder to do that than to just, project on, and it hurts us to see people engaging in that way, especially within our community. So we'll be on a little bit more. I think if there's going to be less empathy around those kinds of conversations, it's like, hey, we're going to shut the comments off. We encourage you guys to either send an email to support if you guys want us to take a look and how we can respond to it, or 2, we would recommend for you guys to shoot a DM to each other. Maybe you guys will resolve what you guys are kind of going through a little bit. Okay. But yeah, it's no longer a backyard barbecue feel.
Mm-hmm.
You brought that up one time.
Yeah, in a team meeting, I said, we started with inviting people over to our home for a backyard barbecue, and more people kept showing up. So we built a building, but now we have a restaurant, and it needs to be run properly, or we're going to run out of food. We have to make sure that people. It's a more official thing, especially with the building of the app and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like there's timelines, and I'm telling you guys, Project April is a perfect segue example to this. It's like the first year that we did Project April, we decided we were going to do Project April probably 48 hours before it started. Yeah. And the way that we announced it was, hey guys, we're going to do dumbbells. And if you want to do it with us, there was no badge, there was no logo, there was nothing. And that's how we did everything back then. And so, yes, the feeling absolutely is different.
Do you remember our first Hawaii giveaway when I went to Party City?
Yes.
And it was like Wayne's World, mm-hmm. and I bought like random coconuts.
Yes, and I was like, oh my God.
And we were just like, hey!
Yeah, and so it was that. And if a member PM'd me or DM'd me, I would respond to it. And like, okay, to open the curtain a little bit for people who maybe have never processed this. We also have been hurt. I'll say this for myself, very personally by some of our members.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not talking about they said something mean to me on Instagram. I'm talking very personal, very hurtful. Like, I can't get into the depths of it, by people who I let in that were members of our community.
Yeah.
And so there's a part of that too, that for me, if you have felt personally for me, like that's going to be something that's going to take a while for me to overcome.
Yeah.
There's been some heavy trust lost in feeling like our members actually care about us the way that they want us to care about them.
Yeah.
So, and that's a real thing that's happened. I mean, like, I'm like shaky even talking about it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just something that people maybe don't think about.
Yeah. You're leaving?
You guys are going to go somewhere?
Can you call me later?
We'll call you.
Deal. Besos. Okay. We love you, buddy.
I
Okay.
love you, honey.
Me and you. Hey, later.
Contract.
You got it.
Can you shut the door, baby?
You got it.
Wait.
Yeah,
Deal.
call me right away.
Deal.
I'll answer it. Call Mama's phone.
Love you, Benny.
I knew he wasn't going to shut it.
I know. It's always tough. Hold on. Miranda's going to close the door.
You know the other two are just going to come in.
Yeah. I know. All right. Cool. Trish says it's springtime, a season of rebirth and renewal. Maybe the community can shed the hatred and come out with positivity. And it could be. It definitely could be. We definitely had that during COVID, for sure. There was a question before we go into Project April stuff. We're like 41 minutes in, so maybe we might chop this up in
No,
two.
we're good.
We're good. Salvi, there was a question a mom asked something.
Oh, she was asking about how to do Project April if she mostly does shift.
Oh, I think Kim may have
I had-
answered that then
I had
as
seen
well.
that. Yeah, go for it.
Awesome.
Use your dumbbell.
All right.
Or dumbbells.
Off-topic question: how do you recommend?
The idea behind, let me give you the idea behind Project April.
Boom.
And then is this a
Yeah,
good
this is a
segue?
perfect segue.
So, because I think the fact that somebody had that question shows that there's still maybe some misunderstanding. The idea behind Project April, back when we originally started it in 2018, was use your dumbbells. And so what if you're doing program A or shift, you're automatically almost doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It was there's been an evolution of it, right? So back then, we talked about this in the team meeting. Have I talked about this on here?
Not here, no.
Okay.
This is perfect. Mhm.
When we started, the idea was, hey, how can we convince or show more people outside of our community? There was kind of twofold. Outside of our community, that they don't need to have a fully stacked garage gym to work out at home, or to like work out when they're traveling or whatever. Like, you can do very effective CrossFit style workouts if all you have is a single pair of dumbbells. Because at that time, the affiliates, it was so heavy on the affiliates. Even when we traveled, it was like, we got to find a gym to go to, or how are we going to work out? Well, I was past that point because I had already traveled so much. But that was the sense of like, if you're going to do CrossFit, if you're going to do this type of training, you have to have all the gear. And so part of it was, how do we show people that that's not true? And then within our community, it was, we had the people who were glued to their barbells and did every workout with their barbells.
Well,
and they thought that the dumbbell version was the easier version, or like a scaled version. And we were like, what if we challenge those people? And they will find out real quick that that's not the case, that dumbbells are often a harder version of the workout. And so, so that was the original intent. And then, we've done it every single year. Year 8?
Yes.
Year 8. And I don't know that either one of those things are what needs to happen now, because everybody in 2020 and the gyms closed down, people found out really quickly that with very minimal equipment and their like water jugs and their soup cans, that they could work out at home. Like that, that's been broken, right? That myth has been broken. Why are we doing it now still? Now it's a reminder. It's a reminder because so many of our members who started with just a pair of dumbbells, now they do have these fully decked out home gyms. But it's like, hey guys, let's remember what's actually necessary. Let's remember that if all of that stuff were to go away, let's remember how valuable it was to go to the bare bones. All I've got is a pair of dumbbells, like prison fitness,
Yeah, totally.
And to not go back to being attached to, I've got to have my D-ball and I've got to have my rower and I've got to have my, and so bye-bye. Why are they so cute in beanies?
I don't know. They just look
They all have
cool.
different hair.
Yeah.
But they all have really good hair. Where's Mono?
I don't know.
Okay, well, they're missing one of them.
Yeah.
But to go back and just and be reminded just the potency of just a single pair of dumbbells. Now, the goal is not, if you want to be really hardcore, you'll do the entire month with just a single pair of dumbbells or a single pair of kettlebells. We've added the kettlebells this year just to spice it up for people who have done Project April all 5, 6, 7, 8 times, whatever. So it's like, cool, you guys want a new challenge, do the whole thing, but do it with a pair of kettlebells. If you want to be really hardcore, you would do every single workout for the month with only the pair that you choose.
Yeah, because, oh my goodness, could you imagine? We definitely, I would say, because so many members, they were like, oh, Project April, I've been doing Project April my whole life, you know, especially since I've been part of street parking, actually. Now the challenge is like, cool, grab those kettlebells and learn something new.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be rough.
It's so rough. Oh. Yeah.
We're incoming beso.
Incoming beso.
Is Crew is the only one that doesn't need beso?
Love you,
He's
buddy.
like, whatever.
Crew is like,
Mono, can you shut that door, please?
We don't want Django to come in here. Thank you, my little guy.
Love you.
Have fun. Thank you, Mono. Close the door all the way.
Door gets shut. Nice.
Nice. Okay.
So that's if you want to be hardcore. Now, but the underlying theme is use your dumbbells more than you normally would. So if you're like, but I want to I see a vault workout and I just really want to do the barbell version. It looks so fun. Encourage, if you want to be super hardcore, to just do it with your dumbbells anyway. And on round 2, do it with your barbell. But you're not going to be like penalized, or like nobody's going to come after you if you still use your D-ball on Fridays, or if you still, you know, are using your rower instead of running or whatever. It's just an encouragement to push yourself to use that single pair of dumbbells or kettlebells more than you normally would, or if you want to be really hardcore, to use it for everything.
Yeah, and so we'll give a little more context to that graphic. For those of you guys who are into this Project April challenge, whether it be dumbbells or kettlebells, we actually created these graphics that you guys can use to let us know whether you're team kettlebell or team dumbbell. So I'll go ahead and pop them up. Nice. Yeah, so I'm curious, in the comment section right now, or Team All-Star. What is Team All-Star?
Well, we couldn't come up with it. This is Chris's idea. We didn't come up with a name for it because Team All-Star would be if I'm going to use one for most of the stuff. Okay, so for example, I'm going to just be transparent. There's a workout. I know at least one workout during Project April with devil press in it. Mm-hmm. And so maybe you've committed to kettlebells and then you see the devil press workout and you're like, well, it's not that it can't be done because you did it the other day, but I'm not comfortable, or I want to do this workout with normal devil press because the kettlebell is going to slow me down so much. So maybe you're doing a little hybrid of sometimes you're using the kettlebells and sometimes you're using the dumbbells. Team All-Star. Yeah. All-Star gives it the idea that that's what like the best option is. It's not. We just couldn't come up with a different name for it.
Yeah. And yeah, so I tried devil press with the kettlebells, and I think it works with like 40, 45 pound kettlebells and up because it's a bigger base. Mm-hmm. Anything less than that, I would not encourage that because you are now having to focus on making sure you don't tip or bend your wrist.
That we talked about with that was like a man maker or like a renegade row.
Yeah, so there's certain things like, hey, just grab a pair of dumbbells for this workout. There's no need for you to get fancy and creative unless, like I said, you are comfortable using the 40 or 45 pound or more kettlebells. That's when it's a little bit safer, but that's where maybe, hey, I'm going to just be an all-star for this.
And then DJ was asking about, like, do I need another 53-pound kettlebell? So if you're going to want to use 53s, those kettlebells in place of like your dumbbells for like a thruster or anything that you would normally use 2 dumbbells, and yeah, you're going to want 2 kettlebells that are the same weight. Or, you know, Cariana was like, I mean, people could use 2 different weights and just make sure that they're switching sides, like on a thruster or something like that.
Yeah.
If they really want to challenge themselves.
I'm going to say, so 2 things, DJ, that I would recommend, given that I've seen our programming. And typically, if I'm going to use kettlebells or dumbbells outside of Project April, I would say, yes, get yourself a matching 52-pound kettlebell or a 2 or a 1.5 pound kettlebell for deadlifts or, hang cleans or certain things. However, I would also encourage you to maybe grab a pair of 40-pound kettlebells and a
That's
pair.
good in between. A 35 to a 53-pound jump is a really good jump.
Get yourself a pair of 40-pound kettlebells, and a place where I would recommend for you to go buy that. It's actually not going to be Rogue Fitness or Rep Fitness, because unless you're close to those areas, sure, of course, absolutely, go to Rogue, go get that, and because you're not paying for shipping. But here's the thing: Big Five, my 40 and 45-pound kettlebells, I've purchased from Big Five. And they get the job done. It's even dumbbells. I would say go to Target for your dumbbells because they actually have the rubber hex dumbbells that get the job done. So those are my recommendations. Or Walmart, actually. Unless you have an equipment company nearby, of course, go support them before you go to like a Target or Walmart. But kettlebells, Big Five, dumbbells, Target, Walmart, or your local fitness store.
Hold on. Amber Farabee is commenting. She said she's glad that she came back. What in the world, Amber?
Whoa. Oh, hold on.
I haven't seen that name for so long.
Hold on. I got to say, Amber, so we're friends on Facebook. She's a legit artist.
Really?
A legit artist.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you.
You know, it doesn't surprise me. She's got an artist like aura.
Amber, I would say this, like if you come up with something SP related artwork or whatever, we will buy it from you. We'll buy it from you.
Wow.
Okay. You are very gifted and talented in your art. Okay. So Nelson is making a suggestion here. Nelson here. If you are not concerned about getting kidnapped or being the next Buffalo Bill victim.
What's Buffalo Bill?
Buffalo Bill?
I don't know what that is.
Okay. It's for the best. Yes, you can always go Facebook Marketplace. I would recommend that you send your husband out to go pick this up. Buffalo Bill, he puts the lotion on.
I don't know what that is.
I don't want to feel alone here. People, you guys know who Buffalo Bill is, right? Salvi, jump in here real quick. Salvi, jump in.
I feel like you made this joke in one of our spoofs, and then it wasn't like actually Buffalo Bill. It was a
Silence
different.
of the Lambs.
It was like a
Hannibal, yeah. He puts the lotion on. Pull it up.
Hannibal Lecter is not Buffalo Bill.
No, I refuse to be wrong in this. It does what it's told.
You are alone.
No.
A lotion in the basket. I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
You see what I prompted? People know what I'm talking about.
One person knows.
That's not true.
I feel like Buffalo Bills is like, the
Is
Buffalo Bills is it?
Yeah, that's Buffalo Bill.
Oh my gosh, dude.
He's the guy that I think that they created the movie Hannibal.
But that's
Silence of the Lambs. It was around. I think it was around this guy. So he would trap people in his. I don't know what would you call it. He trapped people, and then he would actually have them put the lotion on and like moisturize their skin. This is gonna get really dark. This is really good.
Okay,
so then,
like Hannibal.
So he would.
I know the Hannibal Lecter story. I've just never heard of this Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, well, it's him. Yeah, it's him.
I just find it very, very interesting that you know this much about Buffalo Bill, but when I put up on my story a clip from Ace Ventura, you had no idea what it was talking about.
Well, the only reason I know about Buffalo Bill.
Why do you know so much about Buffalo Bill?
Well, let me tell you. Hold on, I'm not some creep. It's because in the what's that movie? It was called like something Joe.
Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt. Yes. The only reason I know about.
Here's the problem. You were watching Joe Dirt, which is like C grade comedy, and I was watching Ace Ventura because they came out around the same time. I feel like. How do you know Joe Dirt references and not Ace Ventura?
I feel very misunderstood, and I feel very triggered, and I feel like I'm like, hold on, let me just add some more context to this. So, growing up, Ace Ventura were more movies that were when I was like in my teenage years. So when I was living at home, so my parents would not allow me to watch like Dumb and Dumber, Ace Ventura. They didn't like that kind of comedy. Joe Dirt, however, was when I had already become like essentially my parents 16 and older, where my parents stopped caring about what I was
So
doing.
when the comedy got whack is when you
When the
started
comedy got
watching-
whack
which
is when,
is why you've never watched Seinfeld, but you think Friends is like the best show that's ever been created.
yeah, and you know that. Hey, that's my reality. Okay,
First of all,
that's my
yeah, we've
reality.
had-
But hey, look, what if I'd be open to watching Ace Ventura with you.
Great.
Not Lost.
I mean, I don't know how much I would like it now because it's very like
Yeah, I just want you to be
Very
sensitive to my upbringings,
teenager
and I was just
comedy.
not allowed to watch certain things. I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up.
Look, people feel like they're just watching a conversation between them and their husband.
Yeah,
I just feel, Seinfeld is way better than Friends. Now, if you go full Curb Your Enthusiasm, now you're my type of comedy. Curb Your Enthusiasm could not be made today, going back to the sensitivity of people in the world, but that show is really funny.
this is what I'm going to ask because I know Kim's watching. Kim, what do you recommend I get started
When a
with? Always,
Seinfeld woman marries a Friends man, I just feel
hold on. Just because I watch Friends, here's the thing.
your ex-girlfriend that was your girlfriend when we first met still, well, I don't know, still.
She
but
was
like,
into I Love Lucy.
which I think she had like Friends on her Instagram profile as part of like her personality.
Hold on. Pause. Please pause. Here's the thing. When I was watching TV mindlessly in my early youth, 18 to 21, it was all constant reruns of Friends. I'm assuming 10 years earlier, it was probably constant reruns of Seinfeld. I'm not anti-Seinfeld. It's just Friends, what was in front of me, and it was constantly playing on all the channels that I was watching. Because you know that I tried to watch an episode of Seinfeld with you.
You didn't like it.
It's not that I didn't like it. I just, not like any show. It takes 2 or 3 episodes to get into the character or what's
Is it
going
because
on.
Everybody's white. Everybody's white on Friends too.
Because he's no, it's not because he was white.
No, I said because everybody like it's white people humor.
No, I didn't. No, I appreciate all humor if it's funny, you know. But here's the thing: it's no different. I was watching shows like the George.
Allison said Friends without a laugh track would be no bueno.
Oh, it was
You have
like
to signal you when to laugh.
My goodness. I was watching
like
dumb
Friends.
shows.
I'm
I
not saying
was
I didn't
watching
watch
the
it.
George Lopez show for goodness
Oh my
sakes.
goodness gracious!
And that's so ghetto.
I watched. Yeah, okay. I just didn't. Yeah, I never watched that show. I think I was out of like the season of watching shows.
Can we
at that
just
point.
we listen and not judge? Okay, can we just listen and not
You're
judge?
the one that's feeling judged. I don't feel judged about the Seinfeld thing. You're the one that's feeling judged.
If
Everyone
I-
loves Raymond.
If I replay this and strip this and show it in our next couple therapy session, I would say they're gonna be like, "Yeah, Miranda, you came at him pretty hard. I just felt attacked." Okay, all right. Anyway, what were we talking about? I'm gonna show my age. Sanford and Sons, the
Oh, my
Jeffersons, and All in the Family. I'll wait for you to GTS.
Yeah, like Kim's into. She's talking about people are talking about Arrested Development or what's the other one that Kim watches? The one that's like Parks and Recreation. I don't get it.
Parks and Recs. Kim, are you a Parks? Would you do Parks and Recs or hold
Trish
on,
said
Arrested
Julian
Development?
has King of Queens in his top
How
3.
dare you? Julian is a closeted white boy.
He is. It's so true. Okay, let's even talk about like the stuff that you're into other than food.
Uh-huh.
You lean so much further white than I do. Like Taylor Swift. Like
Whoa, hold
like
up.
Friends.
Hold up.
Like you go harder on like Timothy Keller, where I'm over here listening to Pastor Anthony Mitchell.
Hold
the
up.
music that you listen to is way more. I just feel like you lean, and it doesn't make any sense. And all colors are welcome to enjoy whatever entertainment or that they like. I would say that my choice of entertainment makes less sense, or makes just as. It also doesn't make sense as yours. Because I don't know how I got into like all the gangster rap and all that stuff, but I was super into it.
I'm just trying to gather my thoughts before I
Because I
respond.
grew up in Salt Lake City,
I just
Utah,
trying to gather my
as a
thoughts before I
Mormon,
respond.
girl.
Yeah, you like were all about
I don't know
rap.
how I got into all that
You
stuff.
were like super hard into rap music.
Super hard.
Like
into it.
you knew what was the reference of clowns? I had no
Oh,
idea.
Insane Clown Posse. I had it.
ACP, Insane ICP. I had no idea who
I was
ICP
teaching
was.
them about juggalos.
Oh.
But those guys are white. But yeah, it's like I was deep into rap culture and like early like 90s rap and stuff like that. And I know the lyrics and I don't know where that came from.
I just want to defend my Taylor Swift
like
situation, okay? I just want to defend my Taylor Swift. I am very 2008 Taylor Swift. I am not current Taylor Swift.
But I also go hardcore on country music.
Yeah, like when Taylor was a little bit more country, when she started going to pop, she lost me, you know? Mm-hmm. Kind of like how members are losing us as we're kind of going into this new generation. It just happens.
Trish said Miranda is a juggalette. Trish knows about the juggalos and the juggalettes.
Salvi, can we pull up that piece on IG? No. The guy that I showed you. This is for all the juggalos and jiggalettes. And I was like, what is going on? It prompted us into, I don't know, that one kind of might be a little tricky.
No, there's a lot of F words in there.
Yeah. Okay, we're not going to bring it up. This is friendly. We're not going to do that. We're not going to. Nelson says, I don't know when. Pull up Nelson's comment. I don't know when that pickup rolls up to HQ in the morning. It's just full of reggaeton. If you squint a little, you can almost see the steps in his hair. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just appreciate music of all culture. Okay,
except for the music that I like.
Rap? That's not true. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I would say you appreciate it, but like I got super into like knowing all the artists and the lyrics and all that stuff, which I'm saying is it makes, it also doesn't make a lot of sense based on my upbringing.
And that's what makes us unique individuals. There's so many sides of all of us, and I love you no matter what.
I thought I think it was pretty cool.
I'm going to ask Kim to kind of get us prompted back into the show. Kim, what's another thing we could talk about when it comes to Project April? Because I know you sent me this whole list.
Oh.
Yeah. Hold on. Here we go.
The only type of music that I can't get into is like heavy metal. I cannot do it. Sorry, but you're gonna have to go to Coach Danny for that one.
For heavy metal?
Yeah, I mean, he was like showing me some clips of the concert that they went to up here, and I was just like, absolutely not.
Yeah. How deep can we really talk about Project April other than we talked about the purpose of, why we still have Project April to this day, which is just the yearly reminder to keep things simple and what's truly needed to me. Think of it as like a
spring cleaning.
A spring cleaning.
Think of it as spring cleaning of like, all right, I'm like, it's starting to get a little bit warmer outside. I've gotten into my little comfort zone of my working out in my sweats and doing the strength. It's a break from the strength programming. Not that there aren't any workouts that are to build strength in the month of April, but we finish the strength programming before we get into the endurance programming. It's like, let me just like do something fun, do something challenging, break free from my routine that I'm in a little bit, challenge myself, when I look at a workout and it looks like it'd be really fun with the barbell or really fun, like reminding myself that I don't need that stuff, that I get to choose, I'm in control here, not my desires and wishes to use the barbell. And yeah, it's a spring cleaning for your mental space and for maybe your physical space. And maybe, dumbbell. One of the cool things about dumbbells is they can be very easily taken outside, which I'm hoping I've been doing the last few days because it was nice here. They're great for meetups. We encourage Project April meetups left and right. Please invite people to a park to meet you there. Again, we're not responsible for those meetups and people trying to sell you doTERRA oils or, whatever they're doing at those things. But, the Project April is just great for all of that stuff. It's like a reset.
I just want to say that we love doTERRA oils.
I know we do, but also, I always make that joke because it was a really big thing for a while. I think it probably still is, but I think that's.
I just want to say that I have a doTERRA oil diffuser. Okay.
We do, and we put them in the bathtub with our kids, and we put them on their tummies sometimes.
So
and stuff.
It would just for any doTERRA oil sellers.
Trish is going to be selling expired Progenics. I mean, I'll be there for that. I heard that Cookies and Cream is coming back.
Oof. That's very dangerous.
We still talk to those people.
We
half of our staff came from Projekt.
Yeah, half of our staff came from Projekt. Okay, so here's another little bit here. I think that's something very important for, especially some of you guys know this, but if you're trying to get people easing them into fitness, here's my top 3 pieces of equipment that I would recommend for people to buy if they're going to ease back into fitness. Number 1, pair of dumbbells.
Yeah.
Pair of dumbbells. Number 2, I would say a sandbag. Number 3, I would put number 3 or 4. It's going to be a toss. 3, barbell. Number 4, kettlebell.
I would put, it depends on it depends on your budget. If you're easing someone back into fitness.
That's a,
if like the budget isn't part of it and it's just like, hey, what tools would be most useful to get somebody to be able to work out
to establish
at home?
consistency. Yes.
I would throw either a rower or a bike in there because of weather situations, because of like injury situations, because it's easy to just, do, if the workout has a run or whatever in it, to just do the rower or the bike version and not have to leave your house or.
So you would do that before the barbell?
I would do that before. If you had a pair of dumbbells and a sandbag or a kettlebell, the next thing I would do would be some sort of piece of equipment that could be cyclical to do like cardio on. Yes.
A bike or row, right? And
I mean, a treadmill could be too, but I prefer the runner, and those are just really big and expensive. So.
I would say, and even when it comes to treadmills, like longevity wise, our knees and stuff.
And here's why I wouldn't say the treadmill. If you can run, outside is an option.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have knee issues, hip issues, whatever, you're comfortable running. And I think of people like my mom or like somebody who's, got a lot of weight to lose. They are probably running. If running is going to be an issue for them at any point, most people in that situation can bike or row.
Yes. And also with the benefit of the bike or row is that now you're actually using your whole body as opposed to running.
I mean, not necessarily, because that can actually, Danny and I were talking about this when even programming, because when we're building the programming for May, which has the endurance workouts on Wednesdays, right? It's challenging for us to build programming, and always has been, because if somebody runs, their body is sore differently than if somebody did the workout with a row, like a longer endurance workout.
Right.
So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily better or worse. It's just different.
Right. What I was saying though, is if you're using a bike row, there is the difference of soreness.
Yes. But also if I'm trying to do a workout with the rower that also has deadlifts in it, that's not necessarily a better thing.
That's correct. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. As Kim says, budget for under $1,000 is dumbbells, bike, and sandbag. Yes.
Yeah.
And the amount of fitness that you can do just by having those pieces of equipment.
And especially if you start looking at like a Concept 2 bike, because they're small, like you can very easily keep that in the corner of an apartment or even like a apartment balcony situation. Yeah,
you're playing around with the budget if you start to go to a Concept 2 bike erg, I think, because I think you're more on the $899 or $799.
I'm just saying space-wise.
Space-wise, yeah, definitely space-wise, a lot slimmer. It's very, than the assault bike or the echo bike for sure.
And the other thing that's cool about that is I know a lot of people have Peloton bikes now, and even like with the endurance programming that we have coming up, because we have the timed version, you could do all of that on, if you have an expensive like Peloton or other type of bike, you'll be able to participate. So it's not like you need to get another piece of equipment.
The other thing I wanted to add a little bit more context to, because we'll kind of wrap up with this Project April conversation. Salvi, if you can go to the Street Parking Instagram and pull up the Pros of Dumbbells. So that way you can kind of speak to that a little bit more, maybe you spoke to this in the seminar.
Did you text one of your friends to jump on?
What? One of my friends? Who? I love friends.
It's just such a delayed response.
Maybe they're catching up.
Okay,
Jolanta's catching up to our, All right, so we did this the other day. I don't know if you knew this, if you saw this. Did you see this?
I saw that it was posted.
Okay, but you didn't see what it was. All right, check out the slider. So hit us with the slide, Salvi. Boom. It was like 3 slides. Number 1, dumbbells require more stability, making you even stronger.
Yeah.
Fixed barbell can mask strength imbalances, but dumbbells demand symmetrical strength and balance.
So one of the benefits, with that is people will say, and I will probably hear this a lot when people go to Project April's, my right side is so much stronger than my left side, or, that sort of thing. And so the dumbbells can really help with that. The other thing is, there's the arm and leg difference and discrepancy for sure, but also the core strength that's needed to manage 2 external loads versus 1 is greater. And so you're getting a lot of benefit that way, balance wise. Cool. Are we not going to look at the rest of it?
We are. We're going to number 2, slider number 2. Dumbbells increase range of motion, tapping into more strength potential, lengthening the range of motion through flexion and extension increases the potential to build more strength.
Yeah, so
Why are you laughing at my site? That's so messed up.
But then my mind was like, you can't make fun of him for anything else. You hit the
No,
quota
that's cool.
for
No,
today.
I've recovered. I'm grounded. I'm good. You can call me out. It's
You
fine.
hit the quota for today of laughing at him.
But no, it's fine.
Yeah, so if you're pulling dumbbells from the ground, it's a further range of motion than if you had a barbell. Similar to like bench press with the dumbbells, you can go deeper. And I don't know if the strict press with the dumbbells is necessarily deeper, but yeah, there's a different range of motion that happens with the dumbbells. That's great.
Awesome.
I mean, anytime like there was a vault workout with the clusters that me and Molly did, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do the dumbbell version. I prefer, and then like 3 minutes into it, I was like, because I thought that they were from the hang. As soon as I heard that it was from the ground,
Horrible.
I was like, well,
It's horrible.
It changes it. Nobody wants to pull dumbbells from the ground, and it's because of that.
Yeah. Number 3, dumbbells aren't just for beginners. Whether you're just starting out or have been doing fitness for a long time, training with dumbbells can help build foundational strength and take it to the next level.
You know, when we first started street parking, when we were in that Fight Club phase, and I had come from working for CrossFit for so long, I remember people in our community would say that they would go to the level 1 seminars and they would say, I'm a street parking member. And even my former like staff would say like, oh, isn't that the dumbbell program? Almost like a lesser than type thing. And then we've talked about the story of us going to try to help program Wadapalooza. And it was like, oh, they're the dumbbell people. And then all of a sudden,
everyone became
the
well, you know how
dumbbell
funny,
people.
right? Because, and this is just how much CrossFit really controlled the programming for affiliates, right? Or regionals or the competitive side of CrossFit. Because as soon as regionals in 2017 was the regionals of all dumbbells. We had already been doing that for a bit.
And I will say, because I know that how people are, and they're like, oh, they think they invented dumbbells. Greg used to use that is true. Greg was all about the dumbbells, like early 2000s. He was all about the dumbbells, and then it was lost a little bit, and it's come back, which I think is great. But yeah, when we first started, we were looked at as like, again, even that community was looking at the dumbbell version of the workouts that we were putting as like almost scaled or less than. And so the slide said dumbbells are not just for beginners. I don't know that people still think that as much. I think that people get it now, especially from that whole scene. So I don't know that that's a myth that needs to be broken as much as it used to be, is what I'm trying to say.
Awesome. So yeah, those are just some ways, again, to educate you guys. And
was that it? That was the whole thing?
We just we didn't want to overwhelm people.
I feel like I had another one.
Save it. Maybe we can do a social media post around it.
I feel like I had another one. What was it?
Look forward to hearing, I don't know, but we'll just save it.
Okay.
Awesome. All right, cool. Well, Salvi, you can jump in here now. Is there any comments that we need to address? I think that kind of teaching dumbbell snatch is greater than teaching a barbell snatch.
Oh, here's the other one. I'm going to say it. You can still make a social media post because Trish reminded me. Oftentimes, a pair of dumbbells is more applicable to what you're going to have to do in real life than a barbell. A sandbag and a D-ball might even be more true of this. But like, when you have to pick something up off the ground, when you need to carry something, it's very rarely going to be, equally weighted with the perfect like diameter of the barbell and all of that stuff. Like oftentimes you've got something in one hand and something in the other hand, and you're trying to control more than one object at a time or whatever. And so dumbbells, sandbag and D-ball especially, the barbell allows you, it spins and it sits on your shoulders perfectly, and all of that stuff is great for getting strong, but it doesn't always apply as well as dumbbells or a sandbag or a D-ball to real life movements in your day-to-day.
Thank you for prompting that question there. I understand the kettlebell series will count towards Project April, but will these be a weekly kettlebell specific workout posted too?
So Kathleen, the cool thing is that almost any workout that you can do with a pair of dumbbells, you can also do with a pair of kettlebells. So let's take, for example, a thruster. a workout that's thrusters and box jumps and running. Instead of doing the thrusters with the dumbbells, you just do your thrusters with your kettlebells. Let's take a workout that's I did one the other day that was not an April workout, but I just did it with kettlebells. It was the vault this week. I did with kettlebell cleans instead of power cleans. Mm-hmm. And I just did it with 2 kettlebells. Some of the rounds I did with a heavier kettlebell and did it a certain number on one side and then a certain number on the other. So where applicable, there will be in the demos and things, it will show you what that movement would look like with the kettlebell. But for the most part, you will just be doing the Program A version of the workout with kettlebells. Now, there's a couple programmed in there that we've pulled from the kettlebell series that are actually made it into the daily workouts. So you can look forward to that. But in general, what we're looking for you to do is do Program A with kettlebells instead of dumbbells.
Okay, now
there's not like a kettlebell version of the workout is what I'm trying to say.
I would say that obviously we're focusing on dumbbell conversations right now. What would you say to the people, especially as we're going into adding kettlebells for this year? The differences in styles, there's like the kettlebell front rack position, like the true in the kettlebell world, there's a different front rack position than we would use in workouts.
I mean, you can use that position.
You can, but it's going to be.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I'm just going to say this. If you are a kettlebell enthusiast, do what you have learned and what you love and what you are into and I don't even want to say what you're into, I should say the proper kettlebell, like dragon door. See, I know all sorts of weird facts. Like we had one of the coaches at CrossFit 801, my gym back in Salt Lake City, was a dragon door, like certified, super into kettlebells. James Sostrom was this coach, and he was just this massive dude who was super into kettlebells. So if that's what you've learned and you're a kettlebell enthusiast and you've learned how to properly, move the kettlebells and you want to front rack them here, because do it. Like, we're not going to tell you not to do it. It's very, very challenging and all of that stuff. So again, to a thruster, you're going to be thrustering from here and then, pressing
full like Arnold press.
Yeah. And the core stability that's going to be needed in the bottom of that squat is just impressive. Give you that turtle shell. But what you'll probably see us doing is putting them more on the outside or behind the shoulders a little bit. And we do realize that is not like, I can't remember the organization. All I can remember is the Dragon Door was like one of the groups that may not be Dragon Door approved and exactly how it's supposed to be in the kettlebell community. And I'm just out here to say that we know that.
We do know that.
Now, when it comes to, we had a discussion about like, okay, a kettlebell, if the workout is programmed with dumbbell snatches and somebody's going to do it with a kettlebell, are they going to pull it from the ground, or are they going to do it the way that is in kettlebell training proper, which would be to go between the legs? We are going to show that stuff as more proper kettlebell
that's correct.
Stuff, because we do want to teach some of those elements. But yes, we know that not everything that we show in the demos will align perfectly with the kettlebell community and how they teach stuff. I mean, I guess similar to the Olympic lifting community has thoughts about things that we do
absolutely.
in CrossFit or in street parking. So yes, I just want to throw that out there.
Cool. Yeah. So bottom line, we are aware, and we're just going to be sharing as much of our knowledge and experience.
We are not Dragon Door certified.
We are not Dragon Door certified.
I have an awareness of it, and our coaches know about that stuff, but we are not heavy into the kettlebell community in that way.
Yeah. It's, and that's the thing I would say. I don't want to make this analogy so much because it's like when you're doing kettlebell swings, it is technically you're cycling the reps. You're constantly moving. Even
the way that CrossFit or street parking uses a kettlebell swing in that community is like blasphemy.
Oh, like the overhead kettlebell swing.
Even the point of why we're doing it for the conditioning element, as opposed to like really building the explosive hip drive and all of that. I've been around long enough to know that people take issue with even how we're using it.
Yeah. Would you say that with kettlebells, you are some of the pros, kind of like that dumbbell slider post? Of course, the main one that I can think of is just how much more midline is required for kettlebells and explosiveness.
Without going into like too much detail about it, I mean, even a dumbbell, you can keep the weight closer to your body, and you can keep it more evenly distributed front and back.
Right.
Because you can get the dumbbells like really like where the head of the dumbbell here and the head of the dumbbells here, or like with the kettlebells, you can hold it here. So now all the weight's in front of you.
Right.
or you can hold it out here, but then it's like really out to the side and all of it's behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Even with a dumbbell, you can more evenly distribute where the weight is. And that's what makes the kettlebell so challenging is the weight is not as evenly distributed.
Right.
And so it's really wanting to pull you out of position. That's why a 35-pound kettlebell feels so much heavier when you're using it than a 35-pound dumbbell would.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I was grateful for my dumbbell sandbag training while tackling the, I don't know how to read this.
I just love his hiking stories.
Mahasuk.
I feel like he's just like a shaman.
I had to push, pull, lift, and throw my 35-pound backpack along the mile-long boulder. Real life fun using my fitness. Dude, absolutely. DJ, you crushing it out there in this world, my brother. Crushing it out there. Hey, maybe you need to take a hike out to the Pacific Northwest and say what's up to us again. My thoughts.
Start where you live. I think he's like in Ohio, and just start walking.
Start walking, please. Okay. Pull back. I didn't see that. My thoughts coming from Olympic lifting is what prevented me from trying CrossFit in 2005. Lols. Can you hold on, Allison? Can you do me a favor and add a Z next time you put an LOL so it can be more of a red like lols instead of lol. That's just a request, please, if you're going to contribute to this chat. Thank you. What? I'm just, it's great. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Salvi, pop your head and your beautiful presence in here, please.
He's so tan because he went to Hawaii.
There you go. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
Little sunburnt.
A little sunburnt. Thank you so much, Allison. Lols. All right. Is there any other comments that we can address before we jump off? Because I'm getting really hungry. Kate
shouting out meetups, whether it's getting better.
Yeah.
So
if you guys want more information about that, please email us. I think meetups at streetparking.com is still a thing. Kim might want to.
It is. It is a thing.
Still an active email address. Yeah, right.
Can I? Let me just add a little more quick. You can stick with the LOL. Just add the Z.
Don't tell people how to do their talking.
It's just so that way I can just engage with them a little bit more the way I'm engaging now. Lols. Or like laughing my ass off is lamau,
Yeah.
I threw a lamau in there.
Okay. I don't do the Z when I do lol.
Salvi knows what I'm talking about.
I don't do the Z. Oh, and Ruck Race League. If you're into rucking,
there we go.
Bill and Cariana are going to be starting also the Ruck Race League, which I think you could easily. I think it's just a one challenge per month type thing. So it's like a one day or out of the month to go do your rucking stuff.
That's
you're
awesome.
Participating on that with them.
It's like his handstand push-ups. You used to say it was the first time I heard you say it out loud. And I was like, wait, what? You were like, oh, I want to do his poos today. I was like, I'm sorry, what? His poos, handstand push-ups. Mm-hmm. It just rolls off the tongue a little bit more.
Yeah, because I use so many acronyms when I'm programming, so I don't have to write the whole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Brad's in the house. What's going on, my brother? Say hello to Stephanie for us as well. You guys are crushing it out there in this world. All right. Yeah. What are we pulling up? Are we bringing up anything, Salvi? Do we need to talk about anything else? Yeah. Kim, Nelson?
Yes.
Do we need to get prompted? We're here for 6 more minutes max. 6 more minutes max.
DJ, I think the Ruck Race League might be your thing because you know how to I think there's requirements of certain elevation gain that you have to have and certain distances and all of that, which might be a barrier for some people, but not for you because you know all that stuff so well. I think you might be into it. And I could be wrong about those things also. It's what I understand, but I could be wrong about that. So don't let that hinder you from looking into it if you're interested in the Ruck Race League.
Awesome. Cool.
What else?
I don't know. I don't think, this week, actually, we've been catching up on sleep the last couple of days.
Yeah, because we just caved and let our 3-year-old sleep with us.
Yeah, he'll wake up at 1:30. We'll just be like, all right, whose turn to go grab him? We'll go grab him. But Banner and Knox are doing really good.
They're doing really
good. They're doing
without,
so good.
Without him.
That's right.
Yeah, because he's not waking them up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We went and saw the first 2 episodes of The Chosen last night, and we got tricked, and we went into the wrong movie theater.
Bro, I'm not kidding you. So there was, I guess
it was so confusing.
So there's the first 2 episodes. Yeah, so it's called The Chosen, The Last Supper. However, there's also a movie that was showing at the same called The Last Supper. So we walked into that one, and there was 2 other people in there. And I was like, okay, this is weird.
Because it's the first night, yeah.
But it gets started, and in 10 minutes in, we're thinking.
It was 2 minutes in.
Maybe 2 minutes. Miranda was like, maybe this is like the short before the show. I was like, this isn't Pixar.
Because it was a completely different vibe, completely different everything. And so he was like, I'm gonna go ask, and then I pulled it up on my phone. I was like, how is there a movie called The Last Supper and
That's
The
confusing.
Chosen, The Last Supper at the same time?
Hold on. First, muscle ups and double unders. Kim, I'm just like picturing you reading this out loud. Are you saying moves and does or
No, I go
Nuds.
mups and dubs.
Mup.
There's a
There you
P
go.
at the end of the muscle ups, Kim, and there's a B at the end of the double unders.
All right.
Mups and dubs.
Okay, cool.
They
Is
are.
there
Oh,
any
they
other-
are watching House of David.
Oh,
we
you
are.
guys-
We want.
we are.
And watch that also.
There are some things that I'm not really a fan of when it comes to the creative choices that they're making, but other than that, I'm into it.
It's
Oh,
entertaining.
Yeah, it's entertaining. It's entertaining.
The accuracy is.
Yeah, it's like,
They've just added a lot of
thank you.
character traits to people who we really don't know anything about, like
Sure.
heavily.
All right, what's another one? Pop it in. This is your guys' time to chat away with us. We're here. We're here to have a conversation with you guys. All right, what is it?
Is the t-shirt Julian's wearing? I mean, I can't. I gotta step back from this question.
Is it a Kirkland?
Is it Kirkland?
Can you read that? Well, I'm just wondering why you're not answering the question.
Messed up. Wow.
I didn't know that he had pulled it up.
Is the teacher, you know what? Nelson's probably going to be like, no. And I don't fault him for this. Maybe I'm just opening things up. Like, you know how like some other podcasts will have like a number to call in or something like that?
Oh my word.
What if we
used to
just
do FaceTime Fridays?
Yeah, we used to do Face on Fridays. What if, this is a for example, we could have had the member like, what was her name in the beginning? I'm forgetting her name. The member that had.
You could just say a member and expect me to know.
Hold on. There was the member at the beginning that had like her. She's like, I
Beth.
can't type it up, Beth. Like, hey, Beth, we'd love to hear what you have to say. And then that way we invite Beth and just have her ask the question. And that way we're just like, we can talk with Beth for like 5-10 minutes, like a real time Q&A. You know what I'm saying? I'm just throwing that out there. We don't have to just solidify.
I
anything.
like that shirt a lot.
The cookie one.
Yeah.
The fortune. Do you like the feel of it, or do you like that it's the cookie?
I
on
think
the
that
shirt?
we've been asked over and over and over again about that shirt.
I don't know.
So you can talk to your team about that. But
I don't know
just
how.
feel-
Caitlin, you and I will get on this. Okay, we'll have a discussion around this. Okay. All right. What's another thing? Hit us with another one. I need to order a street park. What, Trish? Hold on. I need to order a street parking shirt today.
Beth would have been down for the phone call.
Yes. Oh, okay. All right. We're gonna try to work on that. Okay, Beth. See.
Not
you.
everybody though would be comfortable, so we would have to because I mean
We'll workshop it.
We'll workshop
tried to
it.
invite members.
Yeah.
Who were struggling
Yeah.
to like do a FaceTime with me, and they were not about it.
So a couple things we'll consider. First, we'll prompt the question: are you open for a call in? And then and it's okay to say yes or no. Or we can prompt to shoot us an email or whatever. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because maybe that person's like still in their PJs, or maybe they,
Yeah,
they don't know.
yeah, totally. For
Or
sure.
maybe they're at work.
Awesome. What's another question? Here we go. The built by strength shirt is the best and softest. I just like that blank a lot. I really like the
that
built.
shirt. I like the color of that shirt too.
Yeah, are we doing one for the endurance folk?
I think that they have something else.
Okay,
It's
cool.
not
Awesome.
a shirt because
Awesome.
we don't want to overdo the shirt
Yeah.
situation.
Let's see here. What's another one? Hit us with it. Mara, I like to bother Caitlin about the sports bras and crop tops for summer comps. LOL. Mara, by the way, now that you're here, just so you know, as far as I cannot commit fully to this trip to Michigan, and not because I don't want to do it. It's more of like,
Isn't it not until like August?
it's not until August. So here's the thing. If Matt has a partner, have him just go with him. Because I cannot promise you that it would be like a last minute decision or not, mostly because we're just trying to figure out our life over here.
Well, August is usually too when we like go somewhere for Mono's birthday or my
It's
birthday.
Knox's birthday, it's Miranda's birthday, and then so that's it. I want to, so maybe not this year, but next year, sure. Or whether it's that competition or another one, and even if it's another one, hey, we'll pay for you guys to fly
Trish is
out.
on the website right now. She said
We'll pay for you and your family to fly out to come hang out with us to just maybe we'll just shoot some stuff. We'll do a competition together and we'll hang out. Yeah. Okay, Mara. Oh, it's in July.
Trish is run by Chat GPT.
All right. So Allison, we need a FaceTime with Trish, see if she literally exists or if she's truly a concept. Nice.
Miranda can be on a girls' masters team. I am not fit enough for that at this time.
No, I think they would do great. I think
At this
we
time.
just do it so that the boys.
You saw
so
what
the-
happened to me with
so
my bar
the-
muscle ups.
The boys can watch us do our thing. and be like, oh, look at Mama and Papa. Kind of like the dance battle. They thought I was the greatest dancer.
Well,
in the
until
gym.
afterwards, they'll be like, "Did you win?" And I'll be like, "No," and they're like, "Oh, you know."
Well, I'll ask them, do you think I won? Like, yeah. Okay. And then just
I've shown them some videos of like competing, and they have comments about my backwards hat. They have comments about my hair. They have comments about the whole thing.
Cool. All right. What else we got, Salvi? Anything else? What else we got?
Half marathon.
What about it?
Yeah, it's coming.
Oh,
It should be released, I think at the same time as the strength stuff, right? I think it's all gonna, or is that not coming until we start the endurance?
is Julie on here? Julie, are you still on the show? I just want to see if Julie's on here still. I want to ask her something. I was really hurt by how DH made fun of me about the necromancy word.
Okay.
I was really hurt.
He didn't make fun of you, did he?
He kind of did. I felt they made fun of. He's like, oh, what is it?
Oh, there
Lord of
she
the
is.
Rings.
Julie's here.
So the other day, Julie, when we were trying to in Nashville, I made a comment about the story in the Bible around Samuel and being raised from the dead by the witch woman of Enmar. And I was like, yeah, it was like the necromancy. And
He's like, what is this, Lord of the
Rings?
Rings?
He's like, what? Necromancy? He's like, what is that? This isn't Lord of the Rings. I was like, no, DH, like when you do that, that's necromancy, you know, and how Saul ended up.
Salvi was there.
Salvi was there.
DH is right here too.
DH is listening, Julie. So come in. Like, I know you're a Jehovah's Witness, and can you just tell DH, like, yeah, necromancy is a thing in the Bible. Maybe Julie's gonna be like, you're crazy. And I'm like, oh gosh.
She might be on Team DH.
You don't know. Be on Team DH, and that might hurt me.
There is already a half marathon planned, Bree,
Oh.
but this one will be longer because that one is short. It's kind of like hey, you decided.
6 weeks.
Yeah, it's 6 weeks. And so this one will be more fleshed out. I think it's like more like 12 weeks or something like that, or even longer than that. Justin James asked or said that he'd be willing to pay a fee for some bigger tees.
Like this comp look? Oh, what kind of way?
No,
What are we
he's
talking
saying
about?
for like bigger sizes.
Oh, 5XL. Oh, I see.
Which I know is something that we've tried to do in the past. And I know that there's a lot, Justin, around the blanks, because I know, and I actually went to a whole seminar about this kind of stuff, and they talked about apparel, and they talked about how sometimes the blanks, when you go the bigger sizes, they tend to just make them wider and wider, but they also need to be longer, or sometimes they're longer and longer, but they also need to be wider. And so finding good blanks is very challenging. So if you know of good blanks or whatever, any of those types of suggestions you can send in to help us out. Cause I think in the past, the blanks that we've chosen haven't been good. And so we end up having a bunch of inventory that we don't.
Yeah, but so send that in for sure. Absolutely. So Julie's like, I've literally never heard that word before in my life. Gosh, dang it. She's Team DH. Gosh, dang it.
It's in the notes of your Bible.
It is. Right? Fine. All right. Fine, Julie. Fine. Okay. I get it. All right. So
she took the Z. That person did the Z for you.
Thank you. There, I appreciate that. Woohoo. And just start training for my half, and I need more than 6 weeks. Lols.
All caps too.
I love it. Fueled. Awesome. All right. Well, we're gonna finish it. Looking to the dead spirits for information. Yes, like looking to the dead spirits for information. Yes, I just looked it up, and it's about inquiring of the dead. Yes.
Oh, look, another thing. Amanda says I hear about it every week at my Dungeons and Dragons game night.
Oh wow.
Anybody in the chat? Are any of you or your husbands into Dungeons and Dragons? That's one thing that I know you're grateful that I'm not into.
You know, Pat Barber from our team
was into it.
I think still is very into that. And I just thought it was very interesting.
But here's the thing. The reason
I would rather have you be into that, I think, than video games, though.
Really?
Yeah, because at least you're not like, with the headset and the whole. I can't do video games. I cannot.
I phased out of video games on my own.
And see, now there's going to be a whole Reddit thread about how I'm judging people who play video games.
How dare you?
I personally, Miranda, do not like video games, and I cannot.
Well, here's the thing.
Have them in my home.
Here's the thing about Dungeons and Dragons, or even video games.
And you're allowed to do my workouts, even if you like.
I have
Video games.
I have a tendency to recognize things that I can be addicted to. Okay. And Dungeons and Dragons, or even like trading on Robinhood app, or Pokemon cards, right? All that stuff is definitely a gateway into something that will consume my time. And so I'm not anti Dungeons and Dragons. I think I would be super pro Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just concerned about what it would do to consume me, because I get so into something, and I know that's the realm of things that I would get so sucked into. I love it. I love it. For example, when I was in the video,
we could do a D&D vault.
Ooh.
People would be so into a Dungeons and Dragons vault. We would have to really do our research. We'd have to hire a specialist for that.
100% with Miranda. I hate video games. Yeah, I would say that I just have to be aware of the things that can consume my time, and it takes a lot. But I'm very pro those things. No different than the reason why I haven't got into watching Lost.
I've tried to get him to watch Lost because when I was traveling for seminars, there was a lot of flights, there was a lot of hotel stuff, and I was just I would take my computer and I would watch Lost. Really, I got super into Lost. There was a couple of us on the seminar team that were kind of watching it at the same time. And it was my entertainment for like, I don't know, a couple of years.
I'm a binge watcher. So as soon as I start something, I'm going to finish it. Even if I'm not getting any sleep. Like when I started the extended cut of Lord of the Rings, I was like,
you were like sitting in this room.
I was like, dark, literally, it was like 11:30 p.m. There was like an hour and a half left. I know I hadn't been sleeping. I had been complaining about sleep, but I didn't care. I was committed. I was like, I'm going to finish this. I don't care. It's worth it. No different than Lost. I know if I start it, that I will go into darkness to finish it.
Do you guys used to know when we got together and we started spending the night together, I should say.
We were sinning.
We were sinning.
We were sinning.
Sure. See, now people are going to see it. They're talking about,
We did all the wrong. We did everything completely backwards spiritually, and we are repenting.
And also, if you're living like that now, we're not. You do you. Okay.
Don't Reddit us. Gosh. Don't Reddit us.
So just gotta be careful. But anyways, when we were first together, this person slept with, like, I'm not kidding, like full on Jimmy Kimmel, like at full loud. And it would
my TV would be on at night.
All night long. And I'm like over here, and I was already deep into learning about sleep and make sure there's no lights coming in and all of this stuff. And I would, in my little hotel room, when I would travel, I would have like my little sound machine and make sure I would cover up the clock and all of this stuff. And then he was just like full blast, loud, like Jimmy Kimmel TV commercials, like everything. And I was just like, and he would just knock out, and I would just be like laying there wide awake and not really. It's so interesting, right? Like we're comfortable and close enough to be sleeping in the same bed, but I'm not comfortable and close enough to you to feel like I'm allowed to grab the remote and turn the TV off. And I think that's what the problem with relationships are these days, is that maybe we are doing things a little bit backwards. Like, hey, probably before you're, asleep there, you should feel comfortable enough with this person to tell them that you don't like sleeping with the TV on.
I promised you that I'm listening to you. I'm sending something that is prompting our conversation, and you shared it with me.
What? Oh, no.
You shared it with me. Shelby, I just sent it to you.
What do you guys think about that? Isn't that like interesting how that works? Because I was like so afraid of telling you I didn't want to eat the food that you were feeding me. And it's probably just me as a people pleaser, I guess.
Well, Salvi, pull up the DM I just sent you about like the dude sleeping on the chair. And I'll explain to you why. I'm defending myself. I had to get away from it. It was not healthy.
The TV thing?
It's just more of an explanation as to why I needed the TV to fall asleep, and how I could fall asleep when the TV was on. Salvi, did you?
Oh, you're talking about your parents thing. You sent it to me, not me sending it to you.
Is that what happened?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I did send it to you. I felt it got a response from you. Salvi, you can turn it down, Salvi. It's like so yeah. That's what it was. That was my life growing up. I mean, your
mom still has music, TV, something on at all times.
Yeah, this was me being carried out Like my dad, they would just be loud, just talking. I was like, all right, I just had to surrender. Like, here's how bad. I would literally go out to nightclubs that my buddy would go to at 22 or something. I was like, I don't want to go. I got to wake up at 5:30. But he's like, oh, I need a wingman. So I would go. I literally would fall asleep sitting in the chair. I would fall asleep.
So you were people pleasing because you could have just said, I'm not going.
100%. Next one. Salvi, pull up the other one. This is another funny one. And this
one?
is for couples at this point. This is I thank you for sharing this one. That made me feel so seen and understood. But I also love you so much that I love you.
Well, yeah,
Salvi,
I mean,
pull it
I
up
can
the
see it
second
'cause
one.
Your mom still does it.
This is
She still does it. With the music.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
You can turn on the sound. Play the sound. What did that say, Salvi? My wife. Play that again. I'm going to read it out loud. My wife telling me every single thing that's on her mind after I say good night.
It's the only time that we're alone.
It is. Can we feel seen by some of you guys watching still? Is this you or is this your partner? Who is this in your marriage or your non-covenant relationship at the moment? Am I the that one? When you said it to me, that was so funny, and I felt so seen, and I was like, you know what? But it is
because it had happened multiple times this week.
Absolutely. Am I the only weird 32-year-old? Not so much into those kind of shows anymore, but just Judge Judy and Family Feud. Nah, you're cool. That's cool.
Family Feud is entertaining.
My husband, me. I apparently now my 3-year-old daughter too. Yes, this is my husband. That's so the husbands are out there doing the same thing.
We know some husbands like that.
Really? Who?
Snelson. I can see Snelson doing that.
Oh, Brian. That's right. Interesting. Yeah.
Sorry, Brian.
I'm a talker as soon as I wake up. My husband is slow to rise type, and it drives him crazy. Yeah, I have a thing. After 10 o'clock, I'm not functioning anymore. What is it about me after 10 p.m.?
Well, it's your sleep patterns have always been very strange because when we were dating and we're still living separately, you would do this thing where you would take what you would call a night nap.
Yeah, absolutely. I would take a night nap. Yep.
You would take a nap at like 10 p.m.
Oh, correction, like 9:30.
And then you would wake up at whatever, like an
10:30.
hour later, and then do your meal prepping for your business. And I was like, why don't you just stay up and go to bed an hour earlier?
I was just grinding. Okay, I needed like a night nap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm not functioning after 10 p.m. and so that becomes really hard for me. Okay, I have the TV on. Rich hates it. I set a 30-minute timer to compromise. Nice. Andy likes to talk through his day when I get home, which I love, but I get so tired when he gets home because he is my safety and peace. I immediately relax when he gets home. That's very sweet, Kate. Love that. Thank you for sharing that. All right, cool. All right, we're done. We're done for the day. We're off to.
I have a doctor's appointment today, like a virtual.
Oh, nice.
Because I've been sick for 3 months. Right. I just feel like my immune system, maybe get some blood work done or something.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll see you all soon. We'll see you guys all next week. Looking forward to catching up again. Okay. Hey, if you know, you know. Later.